It's a strange paradox of modern life, isn't it? We are constantly bombarded with images of extravagant wealth, the gleaming supercars slicing through city streets, the sprawling mansions perched on sun-drenched hills. The curated social media feeds that scream of luxury, status, and effortless success. The world seems to celebrate loud wealth. To many, that display is the entire point of accumulation. But this is a profound and dangerous misconception. Being rich is easy to show, but the real power, the kind of enduring strength that brings peace and control, is in being the person no one knows is rich. That is the secret wealth. If you're new to my perspective, my name is James. I'm an entrepreneur and a private investor. I haven't inherited a dynasty. I've built my success from the ground up, and along the way, I have been a student of human nature, particularly how it bends and distorts around the presence of money. I've had the unique vantage point of observing people before, during, and after they achieved significant financial success, including myself. What I've learned is that the most valuable asset you can acquire is financial invisibility. In this article, I'm going to give you 3 powerful reasons why cultivating a life of stealth wealth is the most strategic and fulfilling choice you will ever make. Stick with me, because the third reason is a critical layer of security that most people never even consider until it's far too late. Let's start with the hardest truth, the one that stings the most because it involves the people we care about. People do not admire overt wealth in the way you might fantasize. They don't see your new sports car and feel a pure, uncomplicated happiness for your success. Instead, they see a mirror reflecting their own perceived shortcomings. They compare their chapter 1 to your chapter 20. And that comparison, that insidious yardstick of the soul, almost always curdles into jealousy. You might think that when you finally buy that dream house, post photos from a first-class flight to the Maldives, or wear a watch that costs more than a mid-sized sedan, your friends and family will be your biggest cheerleaders. You envision celebratory toasts and heartfelt congratulations. But here's the reality check that so many learn too late. The initial flash of admiration, if it comes at all, fades in an instant. What creeps in to take its place is envy, a quiet, corrosive acid that eats away at the foundations of your relationships. Suddenly, friends you've known for decades pull away. The easy camaraderie you once shared is replaced by a palpable awkwardness. Family members start making subtle, cutting remarks cloaked in humor. Must be nice. Or, well, we can't all be jet-setters. The people you genuinely thought would be the happiest for you, the ones who saw your struggle and your ambition, can sometimes become the ones secretly, perhaps even subconsciously, rooting for you to fail. A stumble on your part becomes a perverse form of validation for their own life choices. Your loss makes them feel better about their own perceived lack of winning. I have seen this happen up close, not just in my own life, but with countless colleagues and friends. I recall a close friend, Mark, who built a remarkably successful software company. He was a humble, brilliant guy, and when his company was acquired, he became wealthy overnight. His first instinct was generosity. He bought his parents a new home, paid off his sister's student loans, and took his entire group of college friends on an all-expenses-paid trip to Italy. He thought it would be a celebration of their long-standing bond. It was the beginning of the end for that friend group. The trip itself was strained. Conversations were stilted. Instead of reminiscing about old times, there was a weird tension around money. Who should grab the check for a round of coffees, even though Mark had made it clear everything was on him? His friends felt like employees on a corporate retreat, not equals on an adventure. After they returned, the dynamic was permanently fractured. They stopped calling him for a casual beer and poker night. Instead, they called with business pitches or sob stories about a bill they couldn't pay. They no longer saw Mark, their friend. They saw a solution to their financial problems. He became an ATM, a resource to be tapped, and the genuine affection they once shared evaporated under the heat of financial disparity. When someone starts looking rich, it changes the atmospheric pressure in every room they enter. Conversations feel different. There is an undercurrent of tension, a constant, unspoken awareness of the financial gap. You start to question everything. Is this person laughing at my joke because it's funny or because they want something from me? Is this friend calling to see how I am or to set the stage for a request? You begin to wonder, are they treating me like this because of who I am or because of what I have? This is where quiet wealth becomes your shield. When no one knows the true extent of your resources, you don't have to question motives. The relationships you have are authentic by default. People are drawn to your personality, your humor, your intellect, or your kindness, not your net worth. The laughter is real. The loyalty is genuine. People stay in your life because they value you, not your money. You get to experience the profound comfort of knowing you are loved and respected for your character alone. You can share in your friends' joys and sorrows without the distorting prism of wealth making everything awkward. They can complain about their rent being due without feeling like they are indirectly asking you for money, and you can listen and offer support as a true friend would. That level of authenticity is a luxury that no designer brand or exotic car can ever buy. Jealousy is a passive poison, but the danger of loud wealth doesn't stop there. It also attracts something far more active and draining, the relentless weight of expectation. Let's talk about reason number 2. Quiet wealth prevents the crushing burden of obligations and money pressure. This is a side of wealth that is rarely discussed in the glossy pages of magazines. The moment you are publicly perceived as the rich one, a subtle shift occurs. You are no longer seen as an individual, but as an institution. The requests, both explicit and implicit, start rolling in, and they come from all directions. First, it's the family members. An aunt needs a new roof. A cousin has a can't-miss business idea that just needs a small seed investment. They approach you with a sense of entitlement, as if your success is a communal resource that they have a right to access. Saying no is fraught with emotional peril. You are not just declining a financial request. You are perceived as forgetting where you came from, as being selfish or greedy. You are forced into a defensive crouch, having to justify your own financial decisions to people who have no understanding of your strategy, your tax implications, or your long-term goals. Then come the friends. It starts small. You're always expected to pick up the tab at dinner. When planning a group vacation, your friends suggest destinations and hotels that you know they can't afford, with the unspoken assumption that you will subsidize their experience. Then it escalates. They need a loan to get them through a tough month, help with a down payment on a car, or an investment in their new passion project. It puts you in an impossible position. If you say yes, you risk altering the friendship forever, turning a relationship of equals into a debtor-creditor dynamic. If you say no, you risk being seen as a bad friend who isn't willing to help when they have the means. Beyond your inner circle, the requests multiply. Old-school acquaintances reappear out of the woodwork. Organizations and charities you have no connection to start soliciting you for large donations, not because you have a passion for their cause, but because your name appeared on a list of high-net-worth individuals. People see wealth, and they immediately assume access to it. They believe you owe them something simply because you have more. I've had friends in this exact position, successful entrepreneurs who enjoyed the fruits of their labor, only to find themselves treated like a public utility. One friend told me with deep exhaustion in his voice that his wealth hadn't brought him freedom. It had brought him a second, unpaid job, chief financial officer for his entire extended family and social circle. The stress didn't come from managing his own money. It came from the constant emotional labor of managing everyone else's expectations of his money. The joy of his success was being systematically drained by the obligations that came with showing it. This is where the power of quiet wealth becomes your liberation. When people do know, they don't ask. They don't hassle you. They don't put you in the agonizing position of constantly having to explain or defend your financial boundaries. You are free to be generous on your own terms. You can quietly support a cause you deeply believe in, help a friend in a genuine crisis without anyone else knowing, or treat your family to something wonderful as a true gift, not as a fulfillment of an obligation. Your financial decisions remain your own, guided by your values and your goals, not by external pressure. Nothing steals the joy of accomplishment faster than feeling guilty for the money you worked so hard to earn. Stealth wealth allows you to enjoy your success without the crushing weight of the world's expectations on your shoulders. It grants you the freedom to say, I can't afford that, whether it's true in the absolute sense or not, because it's a socially acceptable response that ends the conversation. It preserves your autonomy, and in doing so, it protects your peace of mind. This brings me to the third and perhaps most critical reason for embracing stealth wealth, the one that moves beyond social dynamics and emotional well-being into the realm of personal safety. Quiet wealth brings profound security. This crucial aspect doesn't get enough attention, but it should be at the forefront of everyone's mind. Loud wealth makes you a target. When you wear flashy clothes, flaunt designer brands, post your extravagant purchases on social media, or drive an obvious luxury car, you are sending a signal. You may think the signal says, "I'm successful," but to a certain segment of the population, the signal says, "I'm a valuable target." And not everyone who notices that signal has good intentions. Thieves notice, scammers notice, financial predators and con artists notice. They don't see you, they see an opportunity. The risks are multi-layered. There is the obvious physical risk. High-end watches make you a target for mugging. A visibly expensive home makes you a target for burglary. In the most extreme cases, overt displays of wealth can make you or your family a target for kidnapping and extortion. These are not far-fetched movie plots. They are real-world risks that increase exponentially with your perceived net worth. But the threats are not just physical. In our digital age, the financial predators are more sophisticated than ever. When you flaunt your wealth online, you are providing a roadmap for scammers. They can use details from your posts to craft highly personalized and convincing phishing attacks. They see you as a prime candidate for fraudulent investment schemes. Furthermore, being visibly wealthy makes you a magnet for frivolous lawsuits. A minor fender bender or a business dispute that would otherwise be a small claims issue can escalate into a major legal battle, as the other party's attorney sees you as having deep pockets and pushes for an exorbitant settlement. I choose to live differently. I drive a reliable but unremarkable car. I don't wear flashy jewelry or designer logos. It's not because I can't afford them. It's because I can't afford the attention they bring. The most expensive thing I own is my freedom, and I refuse to trade it for the fleeting validation of a stranger's admiring glance. Quiet wealth is a form of security. It's walking into a room and blending in, knowing that your bank account is safe while your peace of mind remains intact. It's the ability to travel the world and have authentic experiences without being marked as a wealthy tourist. And here's the part that most people miss, the hidden superpower of financial invisibility. Being underestimated is one of the biggest strategic advantages you can possibly have in life. When people don't know what you have, they don't target you, they don't pressure you, they don't envy you, but more than that, they reveal their true selves to you. In a business negotiation, a competitor who underestimates you will show their hand, becoming arrogant and careless while you quietly gather information and position yourself for victory. In your personal life, you get to see people for who they truly are, not who they pretend to be in the presence of money. You move through life lighter, freer, and safer. Loud wealth feels exciting in the moment, a rush of dopamine from external validation. But it comes with steep, hidden costs, the corrosion of jealousy, the chains of pressure, and the shadow of danger. Quiet wealth, on the other hand, is the bedrock upon which a truly rich life is built. It keeps your relationships real, it protects you from unwanted obligations, and it guards your physical and financial security. Isn't that what wealth was supposed to give us in the first place? Peace, freedom, and control. So I urge you to rethink the popular narrative. Aspire to be the person no one knows is rich. It's not just a smart financial strategy, it's a powerful life philosophy. Because at the end of the day, the loudest wealth isn't the one you show off. It's the one you quietly live.